Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo. You've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. It is Mandalorian Eve, which means in less than 24 hours, we are going to have the Disney Plus app. And within the Disney Plus app, through the subscription, we will be able to watch The Mandalorian! So excited. They just dropped a new trailer, which I believe is a bit longer than the earlier trailers that they dropped. I'm not sure what else they're dropping. Hopefully, no balls will drop. We would expect that, of course, on New Year's Eve, but like in terms of balls dropping when they should be picked up and run across the finish line, I'm going to use a sports metaphor because apparently they broadcast this Mandalorian trailer, which I didn't watch. I'm not going to tune into ESPN because, quite honestly, unless they're rebroadcasting like sports played in the Star Wars galaxy a long time ago, and the story. Not interested in sports ball, but am interested in the Mandalorian. So excited! I talked about this or referred to it. I think it was a couple of weeks ago during a TLDR broadcast. This is an AMA, so feel free to ask me anything during the live broadcast. If you weren't notified, turn on your notifications, man. Tap that bell, slap it around a bit. And if you're so inclined, you can join us on live.pirillo.com. That's the open/public/free Discord chat server. Plenty of rooms there and plenty of room for you. I make sure that we have a trigger that lets people know if you're on Discord and active that I'm about to broadcast, and specifically where, of course, this channel being one of the primary ones. And then every week I'm going to start tagging everybody when the newsletter digest is published with all the videos that you may have missed over the past 7 days. So I referred to, kind of a working title of a video that I wanted to do, but I think today is probably just as appropriate to kind of expand upon this thought. But I've been a Star Wars fan. I would say most of my life, since 5 years old, with the release of the first Star Wars movie before it was known as A New Hope. I wasn't drawn in, like some people were. It probably would have been different if my dad was into it, but he wasn't. I mean, he enjoyed it. It was all the rage back then. People just wanted to see it, and of course, we saw it. At 5 years old, I still remember one scene. Didn't get into it, of course, immediately. There was a lot to pay attention in the 80s, and access to media and the way that we get entertainment today back then just didn't exist, right? The internet didn't exist. A lot of things didn't exist. And for the longest time, for the most part, even all the way through to the prequels, a lot of how we have digested Star Wars has been through film. And that's fine. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad at all. I would have wanted more, and I'm not sure if the cartoons in the 80s went far enough for me, personally. Not only were they difficult to kind of track mentally, but even, just watching it and being lucky to be in front of the TV when it was airing, it wasn't as easy as it is today. We didn't have DVRs back then. So for the longest time, Star Wars was just known as a set of films. And this is probably Disney's biggest hurdle, or has been its biggest hurdle. They're ending the Skywalker saga with the third trilogy, the sequel to the original trilogy, or the sequel films. And with that, I know a lot of people, seriously or joking, will wonder, well, is Star Wars done now? Because it's the last film. No. First of all, it's not the last film. Second of all, no, it's not done. It's been a challenge, I think, for Disney to move people past the idea that Star Wars is just in the movies. And for the longest time, now what we know is EU or Legacy, or Legends, I should say. I think Legacy. Legends, that is non-canon stories. Some people, after the original trilogy, turned to games, whether they be a table game or video games, things that are now not considered canon, comic books from Dark Horse after the Marvel run, which was kind of, I don't think the original Marvel comics were really canon-esque, but not like the new Marvel comics for Star Wars. Those are canon. Pretty much anything that's produced Star Wars today is canon moving forward with Disney. So the biggest challenge for Disney is helping get people past the mindset that Star Wars is just, for films or just at the movies, right? That's where Star Wars is. No, it isn't. It hasn't been for some time. Most of Star Wars for me growing up was the toys because, we only had 3 films and those came out few and far between and you couldn't go to the movies a lot, or at least we couldn't. But the toys you'd always have on you. So Star Wars was always in my imagination, for the most part. And that's what I enjoyed about it. But certainly the toys. And I'll get to that in just a second too. So The Mandalorian is, first of all, I'm excited. It's different. But I'm excited because I've been waiting for the longest time for a live-action television series, episodic television series within the Star Wars universe, if you will, or the galaxy. Because I want, to be able to, go in depth with characters and really get to know characters and explore this world beyond just an hour or 2 at a time. And we really haven't had long-form entertainment for Star Wars. And there's the holiday special, which, yes, I do watch every year. It's tradition. What are you going to do? Didn't catch it when I grew up. Of course, I love the Star Wars Christmas album or the holiday album. And I didn't know that even existed until a few years ago. So I've got, certain... I get my Star Wars fix everywhere. But never before has there been anything that has the promise of a future for Star Wars, at least within entertainment. Yes, we still got books, we still got comics, we still got, merchandise, and of course now theme parks and toys and all that. But so many people only see Star Wars as the films. And it's so much more than that. Just like, some people may have only experienced Star Trek, from the original series to the Next Generation, and maybe saw the films. Star Trek and Star Wars, not the same. One is sci-fi, one is fantasy. It's okay to like both. I do. But this is different. The Mandalorian is just fundamentally different. We've never seen anything like this before. I mean, it's TV. But is it TV? What's TV anymore? What's movie anymore? What's a film anymore? What's TV? Everything's just kind of blending together. To me, what this is happens to be a chance for Disney to uproot preconceived notions of what Star Wars is and what it isn't. And so Disney Plus, zero doubt in my mind, I'll subscribe to it till I die. But Disney Plus is going to be huge. Just put Star Wars aside for a second. That Disney library is gigantic. Huge, between Marvel and Star Wars and all the classic Disney films and the new Disney stuff and the princesses and everything. I'm going to say it, man. It's massively disruptive. But I'd say that for anything that would have Star Wars. And I know over the years people have asked, well, how do you think Disney's handling Star Wars? I've been fine with it. And I'm really fine with this. This is a huge move on Disney's part. This is to me, bigger news than the last film in the Skywalker saga. I'm more hyped. I'm more excited, probably. I'm excited for the film, don't get me wrong. I'm more excited for The Mandalorian. And I have said that before. For all the aforementioned reasons. We've got episodic content, released not to binge, but every I don't know what the cycle is. I don't know how many episodes, but we'll be able to kind of watch that experience together. Each episode at a time, and that's kind of exciting. So I'm thinking about the days that The Mandalorian drops, doing TLDR focused on The Mandalorian episodes. Come on, let's face it, dude. That's like, to me, that's about as close as we can get to a Star Wars movie weekly, right? And they're developing more of these live action series. So I think the future of Star Wars is, yes, film and merch and toys and all this, all the mass media stuff. But the future of Star Wars entertainment, I think, is largely going to be wrapped up in Disney Plus in the Star Wars miniseries that they produce. They've got at least 3 of them in the works: Kenobi, Cassian Andor, and K2SO. Isn't there another one? I'm blanking on it right now. I've got like Mandalorian on the brain. So this is huge. This is gigantic. And I always viewed TV. I think is like most people did. It was the quality of production was not there for me. It was enjoyable, yes. But, for something that I could get lost in, within fantasy or sci-fi, it always seemed to miss the mark. And I think that changed in recent years. You don't have to look very far to really see that in a couple of I'm gonna cite some examples. One is going to be Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery is amazing. It is an epic content endeavor. It's fantastic. Easily 5 stars out of 5 stars. Easily. I know some people, you're crossing the streams. It's okay. One is sci-fi, one is fantasy. It's not a war. Despite it being Star Wars and Star Trek, it is amazing. It is breathtaking. And, to have that type of character development and visuals and just storytelling, put out the way that they've done it, super high quality, like, that's the future. And so am I going to hold Mandalorian to the similar expectations? Maybe not in exactly the same way, but certainly to get lost in that saga, that part of the saga, or a new saga, differently. And I very much look forward to that. The only other comparison that I think I wanted to make was, well, 2 actually. One is the Orville. I think they did a fantastic job with what they had. Now they're moving to Hulu, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to catch episodes as they drop. I may have to wait till the season 3 is fully produced and published before I jump into Hulu again. There's not much else for me there. But the Orville is another fantastic show. Good characters, well written, good stories. Some people would say, well, it's just remixed stories from Star Trek. Okay, fine, whatever. I've enjoyed the Orville. And then another one that I'm going to bring to the forefront that again, these are experience touch points for me in relation to how I view The Mandalorian. When Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was first released, I watched an episode or 2, and I was like, I can't get into it. And I think a season and a half went by, and then a friend said, no, you got to keep watching it. I'm like, all right, okay. And I did. And I by a season and a half in, I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. And I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever since, and it's been nice. It's been nice to have characters that you kind of know and that you love. Ming-Na Wen is going to be in The Mandalorian. I think she's playing a bounty hunter, which is very apropos. If you know anything, she's a huge Star Wars nerd too. So that's going to be very exciting to see. You can't wait for these moments to kind of play out. So, where I can't, at least. So 3 examples of television content that I think has been produced well enough that I always want more. And that to me is always the bar. Like, does it leave me wanting more? Yes. And so I have I have I'm not going to say reservations. I have concerns that I'm getting too excited for it, but it's Star Wars. I'm going to get excited. I try to attenuate my expectations, but even that trailer that they just dropped online, but like minutes before the broadcast, I'm like, whoa, like it's good. Even if you listen to the soundtrack too, in this particular part of the trailer, it sounds like a sci-fi-ish, fantasy-ish Western type of sound quality to it. So I mean, this is going to be fun. I like a good Western, certainly, and this may very well hit the notes, all across the board, all the notes that I'm expecting it to hit. The one thing that again I'll say about Star Wars that didn't have me concerned, but I think Disney again kind of fumbling its way through this. Rogue One, in my estimation, should have been a live action, episodic television series. Rogue One, I think, as a film, didn't work. It's fine, but the characters weren't fleshed out. I couldn't feel anything for the characters by the end of the film. K2SO was the only thing I felt for, right? This robot, right? Or droid. That and they may explore a bit more of that, and maybe that the Cassian Andor series will add enough backstory to it to make Rogue One a lot more fulfilling than it is on its own. So I'm hopeful for that, and I think Disney understands this as well. So I would like to see Disney invest in more Star Wars entertainment, film, cartoon, animation, whatever, more on Disney Plus. As much attention spent there as they do the films, or as they have the films. And I think that, depending on what their numbers are, and I don't think they're going to be small, depending on how the show kind of plays out, we'll see. I've been hungry for this for a long time. I'm gonna scroll back up to the top of the comments now that I've said everything I needed to say. Happy Mandalorian Eve. In the thumbnail of this video, actually I had two thumbnails, but in the thumbnail of the video, this has been a very difficult one to find, and now I have all of them, thank goodness. I've already opened the ATST Raider, that one. It's a fun one. I've seen those out in a few places, but the Mandalorian's craft, the Razor Crest, has been a bit more difficult to find. Like, I only found one and I grabbed it, and then I found another one that I can open from the Mandalorian. So we've got the Razor Crest. We're going to open the Razor Crest now. I've got other toys. Don't worry, I'll get to those in a second. But since we're on the topic, that's what I'm going to do. So can the crate dragon be classified as a true dragon or a crate? That or as a drake? I don't know. I never met a crate dragon one way or another. Chirag asks, and it's good to see you, Chirag. Is your family or brother into Star Wars as much as you are? No, nobody is. It's just me, which is sad. I keep trying to get Diana into it, and I think Jedi's ship has sailed, so to speak. But I keep trying. I'd like for her to get to a point that she wants to keep watching it with me, because we watch Resistance every week, and then of course the Clone Wars is coming out in the spring, which I'm also very excited about for different reasons. Whew. It's kind of difficult to pop that one out there. There we go. Let me make sure that it's viewable. There you go. You got it? See it? There's the Razor Crest. There's the ship we're going to get to know and love. It's rare that we can get toys before like a television series, right? Because they don't know whether or not it's going to be a hit. But since this is Star Wars, I think they're expecting it's going to be a hit. I think that's the expectation. So right there. Very excited. Am I familiar with a race of aliens within the Star Wars series known as Tishar? I don't know if I am. Nico Crank says, so hyped for Disney Plus. Dude, it is going to get released allegedly at 3:30 in the morning. Or at 3 o'clock in the morning, PST. That's my time zone, Pacific. And would I get up at 3 in the morning to watch this? I don't know. I'd be kind of tired. I think I can wait, but I may end up, because I do have an 8:30 call tomorrow, so I may end up waking up early anyway, go get my coffee, come home, watch The Mandalorian. I want to be awake. I don't want to be like half awake watching this stuff, right? I want to be awake. I want to be alert. So I may have to watch it over my lunch hour, unfortunately. But wow, dude. All right, yeah, I can dig it. It could be any vehicle and be like, yep, Star Wars, I'm in. Woo. I'm trying to get Jedi hooked on the holiday special so that it holds a special place in her heart. I've got my trash bin over there. I mean, it's campy, right? But Life Day is on November 17th, and that's this week, yeah? Coincidence? No, in another week. So next Monday's Life Day. I've got my robe ordered, so I'll be wearing my red robe to celebrate Life Day. And the nice thing is that Diana will probably be wearing it after me, because she gets cold around the house. Let's see here. I'm checking the comments to catch up here. You're reading Resistance Reborn, says Nico Crank, and you need to have read all the canon books and comics books to really get everything out of it. You know, I'm woefully behind on my comics. Woefully. It's been really busy for me lately. Between the day, going to Intel, and then the evenings now doing TLDR, and then after that, tonight, I think we're going to play Jenga for the first time. Jedi, I found some thrifting, and I'd been talking about it with Diana anyway, so I grabbed it. So we're going to try Jenga with Jedi for the first time tonight. That'd be fun. Probably should film it, but oh well. My daily side says Star Trek Voyager is a great season. I enjoyed Voyager. I did. Deep Space Nine, I think, was my favorite of all the older, but not very old Star Trek TV series. I enjoyed Deep Space Nine a little more than The Next Generation, but honestly, I could probably watch any one of them, at any given time and be just as satisfied. Will we get a live stream tomorrow since you'll be busy with the Star Wars show? No, of course. I'll give my first impressions of The Mandalorian. I'll give my review of The Mandalorian. Someone you didn't. Josh Coelho says that he didn't realize the Simpsons show was purchased by Disney. Was it purchased by Disney or just I think they have the rights to stream it on Disney Plus. I'm not sure. I don't think Fox is going to let go of that, right? Right? Of course, Disney bought Fox. Because I was like, that's definitely Fox property, for sure. Kevin Paulson, you disagree with me? Rogue One didn't work? Are you kidding? Oh, dude, it so needed to be a live-action TV show. Not enough character development. Not enough time. You still want more movies? Well, of course. Who wouldn't want more movies? I'm not going to argue movies, but I don't think Disney is going to be releasing one new Star Wars film a year. Will they release new episodes and new shows on Disney Plus every year? Yes. That's good enough for me. If I can get my fix, I'll be fine with waiting every 2 years for a movie. But it's too dry. There's too much dry in between the film releases, so that's the problem. And Disney's got to get past that. And I think they are. I think they are, and I think they will. I think they tried with the films, and I think for what they were good. I enjoyed Solo, that's for sure. More so, way more so than Rogue One. But Rogue One needed to be episodic. That's my humble opinion. That's just my opinion. Hey Chris, if I see anything good Black Friday deal for Star Wars, will get it for me. Well, thank you. Keep your eye out. I don't know what is going to be available for Black Friday yet. F Connect asks, what do you think of Battlestar Galactica? I watched the original series off and on. I mean, again, that was the 80s, so it was tricky to catch that stuff back then. My dad was always into the original Star Trek, but I never got into it. It always looked old to me. It was it looked old even back then. I'm I just never got into it. There was nothing that was interesting about it. I liked Star Wars. I didn't like Star Trek, the original series, growing up. And I think even today it would be difficult for me to watch the original series. How about a Rogue One sequel to build the characters? Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think a sequel, because if it's Cassian Andor, I think a prequel could help it a lot. That's my humble opinion. So speaking of Star Wars and toys, found these thrifting. I tweeted this, and Ben asked what the vehicle was in the thumbnail. These are mini rigs, vintage mini rigs from the Empire Strikes Back era, and they were in a bag together with a modern vehicle. And I was like, I don't need the modern vehicle. But these were all about $6 together, which is crazy. I mean, if I find a vintage vehicle like this that's in good shape, like a mini rig like this, of course I snap them up. So these are very old toys. These are older than my wife. Probably older than half the people watching right now. So yeah, I got 3 mini rigs. I already had them. But, they're there. They're $6. Of course I'm going to buy them. It's crazy. That's nuts. They're vintage mini rigs. What's not to like? Out of all of them, I think this one would be my favorite. Never had the mini rigs growing up. I had one of the Jedi mini rigs. This one should be complete. This one should be complete. This one is missing a dome. Not that I'm going to go out and complete the dome there on top. You see it lifts back and the figure goes in there. Mini rigs. Not canon, at least that I know of. They were never really made canon. The only Kenner vehicle that I think was ultimately made canon was the like an Imperial troop transport. It was brought into Star Wars Rebels. That was one that I had growing up, and I'm like, this was never in the movies. See, if it wasn't in the movies, it didn't exist. Well, now that's not a problem. We have more than just movies, is what I'm saying. Star Wars 9. No films after Rise of Skywalker, Disney boss says. We're taking a break. Disney CEO Bob Iger says Star Wars feature films will go into a hiatus following Rise of Skywalker. Well, that doesn't surprise me. They're going to push as much as they can into Disney Plus, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with there not being a Star Wars film for another few years. Next Star Wars movie due for release 2022. That works. That's like, yeah, it's about 3 years away. But, you know, if it takes that long for them to figure out what they want to do, great. But, like, you know, like I said, I will be very well served, in my humble opinion, with Star Wars, with what they're going to be doing with Disney Plus, those plans. I will be very well served. As opposed to, you know, for the past, you know, 2 years, what was Solo was when? Year and a half? No. Year and a half ago, was it? Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah, no. I've lost track of what came out last. I've completely forgotten. It's been a while. It's been a long while. I can tell you last Christmas was kind of sad because there were no Star Wars things. And even I got to tell you, the merch stuff out there, Disney is like blowing its entire wad of cash on marketing Frozen 2. There must be pent-up demand because everywhere I go, Frozen this, Frozen that, Frozen this, Frozen that. There's a ton of it. Ton. I mean, you want to talk about something that exploded, so hopefully that'll do well. But I've seen some Star Wars things in this cycle. You'll see, I mean, around Christmas time, of course, you'll see different Star Wars things. This is a mug, 50% off, Merry Sithmas. This is you can get it at Hobby Lobby right now, 50% off, nothing inside. But that caught my eye. And also, speaking of holiday special, Merry Christmas. Right there, the Star Wars on Christmas. Get it? War on Christmas, Star Wars on Christmas. That was also Hobby Lobby. About $4 after the 50% discount. There's also a Vader magnet. Merry Force be with you. Right there. Then this magnet, also $4 after the 50% discount. Happy holidays. 3PO and R2. And then a merry time you will have with a Santa Yoda. I don't know. I gotta find some kind of magnetic base so I can slap them up there. We don't have a lot of magnets around here. Maybe I'll just put a magnet in my head and they just ping. Not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. You saw a post on Facebook for Star Wars t-shirt, and then I saw a pop vinyl figure Darth Vader Christmas version. Yes, that was the Christmas Vader was released last year. He had a candy cane lightsaber, and then there was a glow-in-the-dark variant that was released. There was just a Vader pop that was released. I got it, a Target exclusive Vader Futura pop. So I've got to, I'll show it. Maybe not today. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow. But the Vader Futura pop is out. So I'm not going to collect all of them. I ended up getting the Boba Fett one. I'm not a completist with Boba Fett. Not that I'm a completist with Vader, but I'm not chasing down Boba Fett. It's kind of challenging now with the Mandalorian, man. There's so many good Mandos to get. So many. Hey, Star Wars cards. How's my Barbie collection coming along? Coming along very well. If you guys missed that little thing, the Mattel has basically released 3 Barbie dolls. Princess Leia, which sounds like, really? Okay, well, I guess it's a given. An R2-D2 one, which is pretty cool. And then a Darth Vader one. So, of course, I had to pre-order the Vader. And it came in. And it came in this nice little case. I don't know if the screen is going to be too bright. Oh, no. Okay. So there's the Vader Barbie. Diana wants me to get Jedi one. I'm like, yeah, but it's $100, dude. This ain't a cheap Barbie. And then she's got like a, the Vader chest panel like purse. You won't be able to see it, but she's got like fingernails painted red. Really nice, like kind of like a bob, I think is the kind of hair. Like kind of curls in on both sides. Sunglasses. So yeah, it is a for all intents and purposes, it is a Darth Vader Barbie. So of course I had to have it. If it was just Barbie Star Wars, I'd be like, but since it's Vader, I'm like, okay, I guess I've collected a Barbie. So that means I get to watch the Barbie episode on The Toys That Made Us. I didn't watch that episode because I was like, I'm good. Watch the other ones. And didn't they announced season 3? I don't know what's on deck for that. Although I just realized today that Super 7 is releasing 5 POA TMNT figures. So I'm like, no way! So yeah, I'm going to get the 5 POA TMNT figures. Hey, I'm predictable, if nothing else. Should Star Wars movie take as long as Avatar is taking to complete their trilogy between each for movie? No, dude. They should definitely step up the pace. Like, Disney needs to take its time with the films, because films are like make or break, right? Episodic content, the stress and strain isn't necessarily contingent on one episode, right? It just builds over time. And they had that momentum with Game of Thrones, which, of course I had tuned into. I guess, am I disappointed with the way Game of Thrones turned out? There's some elements that I think I could have possibly been done better. Like, everything was just building up to this, and then it all just ended, right? Just this crash landing. But I wasn't like, I guess as full of discontent as a lot of fans were. But that's the thing, is I enjoy that stuff. It's not my fandom, so I tend not to like put as much stock in it. Like kind of like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I thought was fantastic, like amazing. I'm interested to see what Amazon's going to add to that, with their take on it. I also did not, but I did not like The Hobbit, the trilogy. The first film, yeah, but the second and third, I'm just like, this should have been one film. Like, there's zero doubt in my mind. It was definitely overdone. That should have been, The Hobbit should have been one film, not a trilogy. I guess originally it was going to be 2, and then they made it 3. 2 movies too long. There's zero, you couldn't convince me otherwise. So I enjoyed it, right? I wasn't angry about it because it wasn't my fandom, right? If it's my fandom, I'd be like, man, come on. You could have done better. So The Mandalorian is not going to rest on any one episode, right? We're going to have, a series of episodes, and I think they've already renewed for season 2. So there's a lot riding on the series, but it's not going to make or break Star Wars. It's not going to make or break the Disney Plus type of experience. It's just another chance for Disney to build upon a legacy that has been needing something like The Mandalorian. I know nothing about The Mandalorian, right, apart from what we've seen, but something like it has been needed. And this is the different thing that I think Star Wars as a franchise has needed for the longest time. So I'm okay with them kind of putting aside film for a little bit. Just give me some Star Wars fix. Like, it would be not upsetting. It would be sad if it was just, okay, new Star Wars. I mean, I've enjoyed, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Rebels. I've enjoyed Resistance. Of course, the Clone Wars. But, like, Disney's got to get into a cadence where every 6 months, a new Star Wars something is out. So whether that means a new season of a Star Wars show, or a new series is released, or a new film, they have to get into every 6 months. And some people are like, what about, overkill, Star Wars overkill, or like people are sick of it. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think there's such a thing as oversaturating it. They just have to saturate it properly. And putting all their faith and stock in a film, one film over another, it's too much of a risk. Way too much of a risk. This is the right way to go. I really believe that. And the films will be in there for sure. They'll be in the mix, but like not like this live action TV content. That to me is just, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a winner. Just think about it. Every 6 months, like a new, maybe not a new series launches, but we get something fresh. We get something, new. And this is their struggle, right? Marvel has got a cast of characters that all tie together in the MCU that stand well enough on their own, but then come together to form this greater story. They won't be able to do something exactly like that for Star Wars. But just to be able to know that you're still within that galaxy, where these elements exist or did exist or will exist, like that, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of exploration that can be done. And I very much am looking forward to exploring that, or them exploring that, certainly. So that's really all I had to say. This is all about Mandalorians today. Happy about that. Oh, look, I got the notification saying I'm live. Oh, okay. Well, good to know. I'm glad I'm live. Glad you were able to tune in live. As you probably saw there, a link for you to join the Discord server. We do have a Star Wars Radar channel. That's all Star Wars all the time, as you can imagine. And then, of course, we've got Typically Talking Tech news updates, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Linux rooms, geek culture, food. Although no one's really posting in Nom Noms lately, have they? Yeah, it's been a week. I guess we all stopped eating. That was more of me posting on a lark. I don't. If Diana was active on Discord, she'd be posting in the Nom Noms room. Retro Fun, which gets added to I think more regularly, and then Dad Jokes. That's my favorite. Oh, Ben Cody Kirk asked if anybody remembered the movie The Black Hole. Yes, I forgot to reply to you, Ben. I remember Vincent and Maximilian. I don't think I had the figures, but I do remember them. So in the Discord server, he posted the image, right? I remember the scene with that droid or that cyborg, whatever he was called, doing the shooting, the target. I remember that. The Black Hole was a very poorly done sci-fi type of movie. But, it was the 80s. It was all we had. There wasn't a lot. The bar wasn't very high back then. Now it's very, very, very high. For sure. So the Mandalorians are Boba Fett's original people race. Okay, let me correct you there. Boba Fett technically wasn't a Mandalorian. Boba Fett was a clone. And Django was not a Mandalorian. He wore the armor, but he was not a Mandalorian. So the reason why you're saying Boba Fett is because that is Mandalorian armor from the planet Mandalore, but not from Boba Fett's people. Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian. Just saying. It's just laying down the truth. So thank you everybody for tuning in for these 40 minutes of Mandalorian fun. I will not be setting my alarm tonight. Tomorrow morning. I really think I can wait. I honestly think I can wait. I really do. I believe I can wait. So thank you for reveling in the fandom with me. I'll be back tomorrow with my review of The Mandalorian episode 1. Come on, we gotta chat about it. Come on. If you're not watching The Mandalorian, you cannot call yourself a geek. Ever. Like ever. You just can't. You can't. I will refuse it. Like that, it's huge. This is gigantic. This is larger than anything. And then, of course, later this week, Jedi Fallen Order, which I will be playing on this PC, on this Intel PC. Yep. I'm going to be playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. On Twitch and my Chris Pirillo Plays YouTube channel, most likely. Vacillating between the two, most likely. But we shall see. Thank you. Once again, I love you. I appreciate you, even if you don't like Star Wars. Well, then I'd ask, well, why are you following me? At this point, however, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and may the Force be with you always.